Hey, what's going on? It's Adam here. What I want to be able to share today is a scenario. And this scenario is from Steve. And he says, "Hi, my name is Steve and I was taught to hard close. I don't feel comfortable forcing people to buy as it's not something that feels good. How do you get people to buy without being salesy?" So I want to be able to draw this out as an illustration here because I think that there is a fine line between manipulation and leadership. And here is what I believe is a big difference maker between these two. With manipulation, you're often focusing on having people operate out of scarcity, where in leadership, you are focused on helping people operate out of vision. And so when I'm working with clients, one of the things that I try and do is I try and make a sale out of getting them to be able to get clarity of vision. And so if they can be able to feel the emotions of what the result could be like, then they can make a decision from the highest place and not out of lack. And what salespeople do is they get people to focus on what they lack to create scarcity and urgency, guilt and shame as a way to make the purchase. For example, let's say that I was selling a service and I wanted the client to make a purchase. What that icky feeling comes from is when you have somebody going, well, if you don't buy, you're going to stay stuck in your situation and you're not going to be able to get to the next level. So what manipulation does is they actually try and take away your vision, versus leadership is going to try and help you close this by focusing on your vision, right? So what that looks like is in leadership, we don't do that. We don't try to push somebody's pain in to remind them of what they won't get if they do not do something. But rather, we want to be able to emphasize, imagine how cool it would be if you were able to get this result and what that would feel like, right? So that people can be able to make the decision for themselves without us trying to use these tactics to make people buy from us, right? So there's a couple of rookie mistakes that I think that make people feel manipulated. And the first mistake is they get the buyer to question their thinking. So have you ever been in a sales process where you were making your decision, but somebody was like, well, didn't you say you want the result? So why are you hesitant to buy? That salesperson is questioning your thinking. And if that friction, if that trust breaks, it's very difficult to recover in a sales process, right? So what we want to do instead, what pros are really good at to make people feel safe in the sales call, is they always agree first to understand because they're on the same team as the client. But what they'll do is they'll provide a new way of thinking. So for example, if a client says that they're not really sure yet if they want to buy, it's always important to agree first to side with them. Hey, I totally understand that maybe right now isn't the best time and I totally understand how you're feeling. But here's my thought. What if we were able to somehow find a way to maybe get started so that we could be able to have this result? Would that be something you'd be open to exploring more of if we can find a way to do it this way? And what they do is they present possibilities that the client can then say yes to. So what this does is it allows the client to stay in control and make the choice. That's leadership, right? So that's a big rookie mistake. The second rookie mistake that I see a lot of people make that make people feel sold is they magnify the client's pain points. So for example, have you ever been in a situation where, let's say for example, you were trying to buy something and somebody goes, well, if you don't buy this, things are going to stay the same. You might end up getting this instead and you don't want that, right? So they focus on taking away and on scarcity, right? But pros, they don't actually do that. What they do is they're going to magnify the vision and they're going to say, hey, how awesome would it be if we're able to just be able to have this thing? Wouldn't that be cool, right? If we're able to get this result, how awesome would that be? So they're inspiring the client versus creating fear in the client. And there are two different feelings within the buyer. One feels scary and the other feels enjoyable. And so the more vision you can create, the more enjoyable your sales process will be. The third rookie mistake is that rookie will use pressure tactics to get the client to buy now and create tons of urgency and scarcity. And what that does is make the client feel very rushed. for example, hey, if you don't do this now, I can't guarantee that we're going to be able to move forward, or if you don't make a decision now, it may be gone forever. And so they create these urgency ultimatums that make the client feel pressured. And so people ultimately do not like to feel pressured when they're buying something. They want to be able to make the decision out of a place of peace. So what we want to do is we want to create a safe environment for people to say yes to what they want. And we do that by trying to solve the problem that is the reason that's causing them to be hesitant. So for example, let's say that they are hesitant to maybe move forward with your service because they have a vacation coming up. So maybe what we have to be able to do is say, hey, I totally get you have a vacation coming up, so you're not going to be able to start till a month from now. So here's what I'd be willing to do. What if we were able to maybe get a deposit in and then set a start date so that we could begin after the vacation, so that we could set the intention, so that way when you come back, we're ready to roll. How does that sound? Is that something you'd be open to? So now we solve the problem with the vacation being in the way versus saying, well, what's more important, your vacation or this result? And sometimes salespeople feel like they're supposed to create these ultimatums that get people to feel this guilt into buying. And that's what people ultimately are trying to avoid, that we're past those days, right? We need to be able to have a safe environment for people to buy from you, because it's not only important for the client, but it's extremely important for your brand as well, for the longevity of that relationship. Because what do we know about people? Not everybody's going to buy on the spot. Maybe out of 10 calls, you might enroll 2 or 3 of those. But what about those other 7? And that is what people forget about, is the other 7. And if you create an experience where they're wrapped in fear, they're wrapped in guilt, they're wrapped in shame, then you have 7 other people who don't ever want to talk to you again, right? And so the saying is, the fortune is in the follow-up. So we need to make sure that if somebody doesn't buy today, that they have such a great association with you that they may buy tomorrow. So I have a training coming up that is a very powerful workshop on how to be able to not only generate more clients, create an offer that people want to buy, and how to sell more in detail. In fact, this is the sales process that generated us millions of dollars for our clients, and it's a free workshop. If you want to be able to get access to that, I'm going to put it in the description of this video. So it'd be awesome if you want to be able to join us, and I hope this helped you. Specifically addressing Steve and everybody who watches. I know you maybe all got value from it, but Steve, hope this helped you not be salesy in your next call, so that you can feel good and the client can feel good too. Thanks for watching.